हेलो बच्चों, वी आर स्टार्टिंग द चैप्टर लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग in your maths 1 portion of Maharashtra board, and this is the part 1A of the videos in linear programming. Now in this part 1A we are going to see the introduction and we are going to see how to formulate L.P.P means linear programming problem. And in next videos, we will actually solve the problem. Now what all this means, let us see. So linear programming is the first time you are learning in 12th standard. This linear programming is a very interesting part of mathematics. And it is extremely useful in modern industry, modern logistic systems, and in various other applications. Now this linear programming under a different name was started way back in 1827 by a mathematician called Fourier. His name was Fourier. Now in between this particular thing remained neglected, and when World War started, Second World War in 1939, it was the Russian mathematicians who first started using this for military operations. Now what is the use of this? Now bachcho, when there is a war, every nation, every military has limited resources. In any case, our resources are limited. We don't have infinite resources. Now how to make best use of these resources? To find the optimum solution or to get the optimum effect, this linear programming is used. Now that means you have limited number of people, limited number of tanks, limited number of guns, let us say, and you want to use them most effectively. Then linear programming is used. समझ गए? चलो, when I take the example, it will be more clear to you. Now, we have talked about the history of linear programming. Nobody will ask you history, but it is interesting to know that the program, mathematical programming known as linear programming, which got developed during the World War, is more useful now when we are all progressing and we are in the peace. And it is used by various industries and, as I said, various transportation companies. We are going to see the introduction of this basically with two variables, and that's why we are learning linear programming. Chalo, suppose you are the person who is owning a factory. Let us assume you are owning a factory, a furniture factory where you manufacture furnitures. Let us say you manufacture table and you manufacture chair. Now let us say table gives you some profit and chair gives you some profit. समझ गए? Now how many tables you should manufacture and how many chairs you should manufacture so that you get maximum profit? Now somebody will say you manufacture 10 crores of tables if you are getting more profit in tables. Don't manufacture chairs. But bachcho, there are limitations of resources. समझ गए? There are limitations of resources. So when I take now the example, it will be very clear to you. Now, suppose, see this very carefully. Suppose you are the owner of a furniture manufacturing factory. समझ गए बच्चों? You are the owner and you make tables and you also make chairs. Now ये wooden table, wooden chair है. So for making one table, you require 10 hours of carpentry and let us say you require 5 hours of painting. And for making one chair, you require 6 hours of carpentry and 4 hours of painting. समझ गए बच्चों? Now, your resources are limited. You have available man hours per day, let us say, are 60 in carpentry. And you have available man hours of only 35 in painting department. समझ गए? This table is first made in carpentry department, then goes for painting. Similarly, chair is first made in carpentry department, then goes in painting department. तो एक टेबल बनाने के लिए carpentry department में 10 घंटे का काम करना पड़ता है और एक चेयर बनाने के लिए इन carpentry department you have to make work of 6 hours. One table for painting takes 5 hours in painting department and one chair in painting department takes 4 hours. And you have 60 hours in carpentry department. Your capacity of carpentry department is only 60 hours and your capacity of painting department is 35 hours. So now you understand, profit on the sale of table is 30 rupees per piece. एक टेबल बेचेंगे 30 rupees प्रॉफिट एंड एक चेयर बेचेंगे 20 rupees प्रॉफिट. So how many tables and how many chairs you have to make? Because what is your aim? Your aim is to maximize the profit. Now somebody will say, without the person who doesn't know linear programming, he will say, don't make chair, only make table. That will give you more profit. No. That is not the answer. That is the answer of a person who doesn't know anything about linear programming and mathematics. Because table making takes 10 hours and 5 hours, chair making takes 6 hours and 4 hours. Then somebody will say, don't make table, make only chair. That is also not correct. That will also not maximize your profit. Because you have limited number of hours in carpentry and different limited number of hours in painting. समझ गए बच्चों? तो ये हम लोग सॉल्व कैसे करते हैं? Now in linear programming, as usual, these mathematicians have used some big words, jargon of words. तो हमें अभी words में जाने का नहीं है, हमें पहले मेथड सीखने का है. तो अभी ये जो पैराग्राफ में दिया है ना, ये जो हमें क्वेश्चन पैराग्राफ में दिया है, वी विल फर्स्ट मेक अ सिंपल टेबल. कैसा टेबल बनाएंगे? चलो नेक्स्ट पेज पे मैं टेबल बनाता हूं. अभी ये मैंने टेबल बनाया. क्या टेबल बनाया? दिस इज वुडन टेबल. It requires 10 hours work in carpentry department. It requires 5 hours work in painting department and it gives the profit of ₹30 per unit. एक टेबल बनाने के लिए मुझे कारपेंट्री में 10 घंटा काम करने का है, 5 घंटा पेंटिंग में काम करने का. एक चेयर बनाने के लिए 6 hours in carpentry, 4 hours in painting. Profit per chair will be 20 rupees. And in carpentry department, I have got maximum number of available hours 60. And in painting department, I have got maximum number of hours 35. Now I have to find out how many tables and how many chairs I should make to maximize the profit. समझ गए बच्चों? तो हमें अलजेब्रा मालूम है. Let us say I will make X number of tables and I will make Y number of chairs. To maximize what? Profit. हमें हमारा एम क्या है? प्रॉफिट ज्यादा से ज्यादा करने का है. तो फॉर मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट लेट द नंबर ऑफ टेबल्स आई मेक इज X and the number of chairs I make is Y. बराबर है. मैं Y चेयर बनाएगा और X टेबल बनाएगा तो मेरा प्रॉफिट मैक्सिमम होगा. समझ गए? Now I am not going to find X and Y. I am going to only formulate the linear programming problem. चलो, तो मुझे प्रॉफिट इज Z. प्रॉफिट कितना मिलेगा मुझे? अगर मैं X चेयर बनाऊंगा, X टेबल बनाऊंगा तो मुझे 30 टाइम्स X प्रॉफिट मिलेगा. बिकॉज एक टेबल के पीछे मुझे 30 रुपीज प्रॉफिट मिलता है. एंड Y चेयर बनाएगा तो मुझे 20Y प्रॉफिट मिलेगा. 20 मल्टीप्लाइड बाय Y. एंड दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव टू मैक्सिमाइज. बराबर है? चलो, अभी X टेबल बनाने के लिए मुझे कारपेंट्री में 10 into X आवर्स काम करना पड़ेगा. And I have to work for 6 into Y hours in carpentry to make Y chairs. So to make X tables and Y chairs, how much work I have to do in carpentry? I have to do work of 10 times X plus 6 times Y. So many hours work I have to make in carpentry, and that should be less than or equal to 60, because I got maximum hours available in carpentry department only 60. This is less than or equal to 60. बराबर है? Similarly, if I go to painting, for X tables I have to spend 5X hours in painting, and for Y chairs I have to spend 4Y hours in painting. So what happens? How much time I have to spend in painting? 5X plus 4Y, and this should be less than or equal to, मेरे को पेंटिंग में कितना आवर्स है मैक्सिमम? 35. बराबर है? That means I have to maximize Z, find out X and Y in such a way that this Z is maximum, but I have got constraint. 10x plus 6y should be less than 60. 5x plus 4y should be less than 35. समझ गए? ये मेरा रिसोर्स का लिमिटेशन है. You cannot tell me to make 1 crore tables. You cannot tell me to make 500 tables. समझ गए? Because these are my constraint. समझ गए बच्चों? Now, can I make negative number of tables? Can I make -2 tables? No. Can I make -1 chair? No. So X and Y are always greater than or equal to 0. So I have to have another constraint. X is greater than or equal to 0. Y is greater than or equal to 0. This is how I have formulated the linear programming problem. समझ गए? I have to maximize profit, which is 30x plus 20y. Carpentry में I have limitations, so 10x plus 6y should be less than 60. Painting में there is a limitation, 5x plus 4y should be less than 35, and I cannot make negative tables and negative chairs. I have to make 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. समझ गए? Now people have used jargon of words. अभी आपको समझ जाएंगे. X and Y, what we have assumed, are called decision variables. ये वर्ड याद रखना आसान है. सॉल्यूशन करते टाइम ये वर्ड की जरूरत नहीं है. बट डोंट फॉरगेट व्हेन यू आर लर्निंग मैथमेटिक्स, डोंट फॉरगेट इंग्लिश. समझ गए? चलो, मैक्सिमाइज, वॉट एवर आई हैव टू मैक्सिमाइज इज कॉल्ड ऑब्जेक्टिव फंक्शंस. समझ गए बच्चों? देन ये मेरा लिमिटेशंस है, रिसोर्स लिमिटेशंस है. सो दीज आर नोन एज कंस्ट्रेंट. These are known as constraint. Or x is greater than 0, y is greater than 0. These are also constraint. So they are known as non-negativity constraint. यही 4 वर्ड है पूरे चैप्टर में. यहाँ फॉर्मूला तो कुछ है ही नहीं. हमने सिंपल x और y यहां मान के which are the decision variable. Why decision variable? Because I have to make decision. How many tables I have to make? How many chairs I have to make, and that is what is decision variable. तो अभी हमने फॉर्मुलेट, ये तो मैंने समझाया आपको. फॉर्मुलेट कैसा करेंगे? दिस इज अ फॉर्मुलेशन. मैक्सिमाइज z, that is equal to 30x plus 20y, that is nothing but profit, subject to, ये मेरा कंस्टेंट है, 10x plus 6y is less than 60, 5x plus 4y is less than 35, x is greater than 0, y is greater than 0. This is what is known as formulation of linear programming problem. This is what we have formulated. Have you found a solution? Have you found a solution? No. Solution means find x and y, which we are going to do in the next videos. Because in examination sometimes you are asked फॉर्म्यूलेट द लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग प्रॉब्लम. समझ गए बच्चों? अभी देखिए, मैंने मैक्सिमाइज बताया आपको, बराबर है. नाउ व्हाई वी आर मैक्सिमाइजिंग? बिकॉज वी वांट मोर प्रॉफिट. प्रॉफिट तो मैक्सिमाइज करना पड़ेगा. बट समटाइम्स यू हैव टू मिनिमाइज सर्टेन पैरामीटर्स. व्हाट इज द वन ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट पैरामीटर व्हाट यू हैव टू मिनिमाइज? दैट इज अ कॉस्ट. So, linear programming problem is used for optimization. Optimization means what is best for you. It can be maximized like profit, or it can be also minimized like cost. समझ गए? कॉस्ट कम से कम करना है, प्रॉफिट ज्यादा से ज्यादा करना है. दोनों को मिला के वर्ड है ऑप्टिमाइजेशन. एंड लीनियर प्रोग्रामिंग इज यूज्ड फॉर बोथ. तो हमने अभी जो एग्जांपल दिखाया आपको और जो हमने स्टडी किया, विच होप यू हैव अंडरस्टूड, अदरवाइज गो थ्रू दिस वीडियो अगेन. वी हैव मैक्सिमाइजेशन का प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व. प्रॉब्लम हमने सॉल्व नहीं किया, प्रॉब्लम फॉर्म्यूलेट किया. नाउ लेट अस से वी हैव टू मिनिमाइज. तो उसका एग्जांपल क्या है, चलो देखेंगे. देख लीजिए. डॉक्टर हैज प्रिस्क्राइब 2 different units of food A and food B to form a weekly diet of a sick person. डॉक्टर ने सिक पर्सन को बोला है आप फूड ए ले लो एंड फूड बी ले लो. कैसा ले लो? योर मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ दैट सिक पर्सन पर वीक इज फैट, कार्बोहाइड्रेट एंड प्रोटीन. अभी ये फूड ए और बी लेगा तो उसे फैट मिलेंगे, कार्बोहाइड्रेट मिलेंगे, प्रोटीन मिलेंगे. How much is his requirement? Minimum 18 for fats, 28 for carbohydrates and 14 for proteins respectively. Read this again. Doctor has prescribed 2 different units of food A and food B to form a weekly diet of a sick person. The minimum requirement of fats, carbohydrates and proteins are 18, 28 and 14 units. That sick person must get minimum 18 units of fat, minimum 28 units of carbohydrate and minimum 14 units of protein. फैट उसको कितना मिलना मांगता है 18, कार्बोहाइड्रेट उसको कितना मिलना मांगता है 28 एंड प्रोटीन उसको कितना मिलना मांगता है 14. ये किसने बोला है? डॉक्टर ने बोला है. नाउ वो उसको कहां से मिलेगा? If he takes 1 unit of food A, he will get 4 units of fat, 14 units of carbohydrate and 8 units of protein. This he will get from food A. 1 unit of food B if he takes, maybe 1 unit is 100 grams or 50 grams like that. He will get 6 units of fat, 12 units of carbohydrate and 8 units of protein. Abhi food A is costing him 4.5 rupees per unit and food B is costing him 3.5 rupees per unit. बराबर है? Now that poor sick person has to have a diet which will be having minimum cost. मिनिमम कॉस्ट उसको मांगता है, ज्यादा पैसा नहीं है उसके पास. समझ गए? तो ये जो पैराग्राफ में क्वेश्चन दिया है, वी विल मेक अ टेबल. ना अंडरस्टैंड दिस टेबल प्रॉपरली. समझ गए बच्चों? देखो, फूड ए, फूड बी. फूड ए का 1 यूनिट में, दिस इज 1 यूनिट, दिस इज 1 यूनिट. फैट कितना मिलता है? 4. कार्बोहाइड्रेट कितना मिलता है? 14 एंड प्रोटीन कितना मिलता है? 8. समझ गए? एंड कॉस्ट ऑफ फूड ए पर यूनिट इज 4.5 रुपीज. बराबर है? नाउ फूड बी 1 यूनिट विल गिव हिम 6 units of fat, 12 units of carbohydrate, 8 units of protein and it will cost him 3 rupees 50 paisa. And fats उसको minimum requirement of sick person. Fat उसको weekly कितना मिलना मांगता है? 18. This is the minimum requirement of fat. This is the minimum requirement of carbohydrate and this is the minimum requirement of protein. समझ गए बच्चों? He cannot have less food so that he gets fat less than 18 or carbohydrate less than 28 or protein less than 14. He has to have this, otherwise he will fall sick again. समझ गए बच्चों? चलो, अभी यहां में ये टेबल फिर से लिखा है. Now we are trying to formulate a problem. Again मेथड इज सेम. हमें डिसाइड करना है कितना फूड ए लेने का, कितना फूड बी लेने का. हाउ मच फूड ए वी वांट ही हैज टू टेक, हाउ मच फूड बी हैज टू टेक. सो आवर डिसीजन वेरिएबल बिकम्स एक्स एंड वाई. बराबर है? तो उसका कॉस्ट कितना आएगा? 4.5 टाइम्स एक्स यूनिट्स एंड 3.5 टाइम्स वाई यूनिट. चलो, सो फॉर मिनिमम कॉस्ट let number of units of food A to be taken be X and food B be Y. समझ गए बच्चों? ये उसको लेना है. तो उसका कॉस्ट कितना आएगा? Z is the cost which is 4.5 times X because he is taking X units of A और यूनिट A का एक यूनिट को लगता है 4.5 रुपीज. And he is taking Y units of food B and food B is costing 3.5 rupees per unit. And this he has to minimize. This he has to minimize. Cost he has to minimize. Now constraint. अभी X unit of फूड A लेगा एंड Y यूनिट्स ऑफ फूड B देगा, तो उसको फैट कितना मिलेगा? 4x एंड 6y, बराबर है। फूड A का एक यूनिट में 4 यूनिट फैट मिलता है, ही इज टेकिंग x यूनिट, सो 4x plus 6y he is getting as fat, that should be more than 18। समझ गए बच्चों? अभी कंस्ट्रेंट क्या है? It should be more than 18, he cannot get less than 18 fat। Similarly you see now, कार्बोहाइड्रेट कितना मिलेगा उसको? 14x plus 12y, that should be more than 28। 14x plus 12y should be more than 28। प्रोटीन कितना मिलेगा उसको? x यूनिट फूड लेगा A तो 8x, y यूनिट फूड लेगा और फूड B 8y, एंड 8x plus 8y should be more than 14। ये उसका कंस्ट्रेंट है, समझ गए? नाउ अगेन, कैन ही टेक निगेटिव फूड है? नहीं, सो x शुड बी ग्रेटर देन और इक्वल टू 0। कैन ही टेक निगेटिव y? उसको तो खाना है, इट हैज टू बी पॉजिटिव, सो x इज ग्रेटर देन 0, y इज ग्रेटर देन 0, ग्रेटर देन और इक्वल टू 0। समझ गए बच्चों? नाउ these are decision variables, these are objective function, these are constraint। x and y cannot be such that he gets less than 18 fat or less than 28 carbohydrate or less than 14 protein, and these are non-negativity constraint। समझ गए बच्चों? तो ये हमने प्रॉब्लम फॉर्मुलेट किया। लिखने का कैसा? he has to now minimize the cost। this is the cost, 4.5x plus 3.5y, subject to all this should be satisfied, and x should be greater than 0, y should be greater than 0। this is again what we have done बच्चों, we have formulated the linear programming problem। have we solved it? have we told him how much x and how much y, how much food A you should take and how much food B you should take? No, because we have yet to solve, because we have yet to learn, and that we will learn in next video। बच्चों ये वीडियो फिर से एक बार देखो, so next video looking you will understand। now you should also know one thing, okay, when there is a equation like 4x plus 6y equal to 18, it represents a straight line। all these equations are straight line equations। coordinate geometry याद है कि भूल गए? all these equations are straight line equations। that's why this chapter is known as linear programming। all these are straight line because x and y both have order index 1। समझ गए बच्चों? x इक्वल टू 0 किसका ग्राफ है? y एक्सिस का। y इक्वल टू 0 किसका ग्राफ है? x एक्सिस का। सो प्लीज गो थ्रू योर कोऑर्डिनेट ज्योमेट्री चैप्टर स्ट्रेट लाइन 11th स्टैंडर्ड में बिफोर यू लुक एट द नेक्स्ट वीडियो। सो straight line is important chapter। for this chapter when we are actually going to solve, till now we have only formulated, the next step will be solving, solution। that means we will take this person, we will tell him food A कितना ले लो, food B कितना यूनिट ले लो। we will tell the manufacturer of table and chair कितना टेबल बनाओ, कितना चेयर बनाओ, so that factory owner will have maximum profit and this sick person will have minimum cost। तो minimum and maximum दोनों टाइप का problems are solved by linear programming। समझ गए बच्चों? by the way, the Russian scientist and a Dutch American scientist or the mathematician who worked on this linear programming problem were given Nobel Prize. समझ गए बच्चों? आपको भी सीख के कुछ बड़ा होना है. ऐसा नहीं आज सीखा, आज वीडियो देखा, एग्जाम होने के बाद भूल गए. कुछ करना है. अब ये हमको तो सिंपल लगता है ना सिंपल, बट दोज पीपल हु इन्वेंटेड दिस दे वर गिवन नोबेल प्राइज इन मैथमेटिक्स. समझ गए बच्चों? चलो, थैंक यू. ये वीडियो फिर से देखो, then wait for the next video where we will give the solutions. Thank you.